That's going to be a big problem. When you see a house, you know, there are cracks on the foundation, the ceiling, because the ceiling kind of cracks because the house is linen. When the house, especially new constructions, when the house settles, you can see it shifts. Uneven or sloping floors, once again, that goes to the foundation. Doors and windows that stick or won't close properly, once again, that's a foundational issue. Once the doors, you see the doors are not opening or they stick, they're hard to close, especially ones that open this way, windows, not necessarily sliding down, but even the ones that slide down, if they're kind of crunching in, now the windows can't slide down, right? Stair steps, cracks in brick exteriors. So foundation repairs can cost thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. So that's why these signs are things you want to look out for. Cracks in the walls, ceiling, uneven and sloping floors, doors and windows that stick or won't close properly, right? Next, you want to look out for is water damage and moisture issues. Look for water stains on ceilings and floors, musty odors, because people can paint stuff, but sometimes the smell is still there. Mold or mildew, fresh paint in only one small area, maybe covering the damage, right? So damaged basement or crawl spaces. This matters because water damage often leads to mold, structural issues, and costly repairs. Another thing you want to look out for are roof problems, you know, missing or curling shingles, sagging roof lines, water stains in the attic, signs of recent patchwork. So when you look at the shingles and you see one side is darker than the other, and you like, that raises an eyebrow. A new roof can easily cost you 10 to 30,000 depending on the size, right? Electrical issues, you want to look out for flickering lights. You know, when you want to cut on a light, it's flickering. Outdated electrical panels, extension cords everywhere, two-prong outlets. So I have some of those issues in some areas in my house where there are a lot of two-prong outlets and not three. Burn marks around outlets. Electrical upgrades can be expensive and may present safety hazards. Plumbing problems, right? You want to look out for low water pressure, slow drains, water stains on the sinks, signs of leaks around toilets, corrosion on pipes. Hidden plumbing problems can lead to significant water damage. So especially on the ground floor, the basement floor, underneath the kitchen, if it's a 2-level house, go underneath that kitchen level, see how that roof looks like, the ceiling, right? Or bathrooms, underneath the bathrooms, see if the paint was there, if they had to work on that. HVAC near end of life, so look out for very old furnace or AC units, rust or corrosion, loud noise during operation, lack of maintenance records. So you'll see a sticker on most HVAC units and they'll tell you when they were serviced. So replacing heating and cooling system can cost thousands of dollars. So that's another thing you want to look out for. Next is evidence of poor maintenance, just peeling paint, rotten wood, broken fixtures, neglected landscape, multiple small unfinished repairs. If visible items were ignored, there may be larger hidden issues. So they say where there's smoke, there's fire. So if you just keep seeing little things, you need to worry about that. So termite tubes, wood damage, rodent droppings, pest traps throughout the home. Pest damage can be expensive and sometimes very extensive as well, because you can see one thing, but then there's a lot more going on. Next thing you want to look for when touring a property, I would say, is neighborhood red flags. You know, excessive vacant homes. So if you see a lot of vacant homes, you got to be cautious, because you're going to think, is this property going to be able to hold value, right? Heavy noise. Shortly. Yeah, we're saying list to last. The reason why I give this client here, for instance, been showing them around for quite a while. And when you think about GCI, gross, commission. When you think about all the driving, all the time spent, the return, the ROI is not worth it. The reason why I'm doing it is because of a relationship building strategy. So dealing with buyers is very time consuming, but some of them are worth it because, for instance, this is a young family, somebody who's getting ready to graduate a very high-end degree. They may not be able to afford something major right now, but they want to start a family. This can be a starter home. This can end up being multiple transactions, at least the sale of this. If they choose to stay in the DMV, then the purchase, then referrals. So this is more like a relationship building sale, but it's not worth money. You're gonna make some money, but when you think about all the showings and the time put into it, it's really a net loss, or you just breaking even. Just quite frank, because it was also referred from a site that takes almost 30% on your commission, so when you're done with this, it's not worth it. But I think I've built a relationship with the client, and just to understand that they're going to make more moves in real estate, it's worth it. But the goal is to list the last, because when you list, you show you have a listing appointment. If you get it, you put it on the market, then you can schedule your open houses according to your choosing, not necessarily chasing buyers around or hoping to like what you have on the market. But we're going to stop it right there. Day 30, day in the life of a real estate agent. Just come on the journey with me. You're going to see how we build this business slowly. It's going to happen, and that's why we're doing this, to just show you the grind. It's not always snapping your fingers and things happen. You got to build and build and build. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. If you got any questions about real estate, if you're looking to sell or buy a house in the DMV, please give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Also, I'll say, that's the client calling. I'm pretty sure he's here. All right, we're going to wrap it up right here.
Your free training today.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
That's what a positive cash flow does for you. Good cap rate. So the cap rate helps compare investment properties. So you do cap rate equals net operating income divided by the property value times 100%, right? General range, you're looking at 4 to 6%. Low risk divided by, just low risk. And then 6 to 10% strong cash flow. Very high cap rates can signify higher risk. Keep that in mind. Appreciation potential is another thing you want to look for a good investment property. Some properties don't cash flow heavily today, but grow significantly in value over time. So look for limited housing supply. So you want to check the inventory, increasing rent, neighborhood revitalization, new employers entering the area. So like here in the DMV, they call Northern Virginia Data Alley, right? A lot of data centers are going there. Can be positive, a lot of jobs are coming, but how about the noise in the neighborhood? So you want to keep those things into consideration. Then the rent demand, property is only valuable if people want to rent it. Strong indicators are low vacancy rates, rising rents, nearby universities, hospital, or employment centers, right? Good amenities all around the area. Those are just strong indicators for good rent demand. Reasonable purchase price is another thing you want to look for great investment properties. So great investment properties will signal buy at a discount whenever possible, right? Good investors will look at that, you know. Just look for motivated sellers, foreclosures, cosmetic fixer-uppers where you don't have to pour a lot of money into it. You don't want a money pit. Under market rents that can be increased, you know. So when you see the rents there are low, you know, if you touch it up, you can get more money on that rent. Low maintenance risk. Older properties can look cheap but become expensive quickly. So watch for roof age, foundation issues. Probably best to get the more expensive property. Then you'll also want to look at financing that makes sense. Interest rates heavily affect returns. Many investors analyze the down payment size, the interest rate, loan terms, monthly debt service. For leverage returns, investors often estimate cash on cash return. Cash on cash return can be calculated by doing the annual pre-tax cash flow over cash invested, right? Multiplied by 100%. So that's the annual pre-tax cash flow divided by the cash invested times 100%. Then one other thing you want to check out for if you're looking for a good investment property is the exit flexibility. And good investment properties usually have multiple exit options, meaning long-term rentals, short-term rentals, house hacking. You can flip it, you can refinance it, you know, you can sell to owner occupants. Flexibility reduces risks, because if you got multiple ways to get out of that loan or your cash, if it's tied down, and you got multiple exit strategies for that property, that's a great sign. The last key point would be numbers that work conservatively. You know, experienced investors assume repairs will happen, vacancies will occur, taxes and insurance will rise. A deal that only works under perfect condition is usually risky. So the deal should work under varying conditions, right? If things go wrong, this deal still should make sense. So common beginner mistakes: they buy based on emotion, right? They underestimate maintenance, they ignore vacancy cost, overestimating rent, focusing only on appreciation, buying in unfamiliar markets without research. So a simple rule of thumb, I would say, looking for an investment property would be positive monthly cash flow, rent equals to like 1% of purchase price, which is harder in today's market, safe neighbor. That's not a universal rule, but it's a quick screening tool, right? And then finally, we're going to talk about just things I wish I knew before buying my first home. So for instance, for me, I would have gotten more inspections done. I got the two basic inspections, like the structural and the wood destroying insect, but maybe I would have done a septic inspection, would have done a roof. Thankfully, none of those, like the roof hasn't caved in on me, no leaks or anything, but it's just something I would recommend. Also the HVAC unit, just some more inspections. That's just my personal experience. Then generally, I would say most first-time home buyers don't realize how many hidden layers there are to home ownership until after they've signed. So also the windows, right? You know, windows, insulation, just things that are going to affect your monthly energy cost. They wish they knew before buying their first house. I'll also say closing costs, for instance. I was just told about 3.5% down payment. Thankfully, I had that extra 4 to 5% for closing costs, but literally I didn't factor that in when I went into looking for a house. It was when they brought the bill, I was like, wow, this is a lot. But then when you pay all of that, then you find out only a small fraction of that went towards your mortgage. It can be a gut punch, you know? Right away, the monthly payment is only part of the real cost. Your mortgage might be predictable, but taxes, insurance, and maintenance aren't. Property taxes can change, insurance can jump after a year, and maintenance is constant. Roof issues, HVAC servicing, plumbing surprises, lawn care. A good rule of thumb is budgeting 1 to 3% of the home's value per year just for upkeep, right? A second surprise is how fast small repairs can add up. A leaky faucet become a plumbing visit. A minor roof fix can turn into thousands. A rental property, on the other hand, you don't have to worry about these things. You call someone in the house. Warranties, they have these like maintenance insurance things where you pay monthly. So if you got any major repairs that needs to get done, they can service it for you. Another thing people underestimate is how much cash you can still need after closing. Even if you escape, all the other down payments and you're able to scrape all that money, when you think about it, many buyers move into a house cash poor, house poor. They got the house, but now they don't have the cash without realizing it. So inspection results also matter more than emotions. Almost every house has issues. The key difference is whether they're cosmetic or structural. New buyers often fall in love with the property first and rationalize problems later. But the inspection is where reality shows up. I think I fell into that trap. I wanted the house, I liked the yard, and I saw certain red flags with the as-is sale, and I went ahead with the purchase. If I were to do it again, I probably would have gotten a brand new house or something close to it where every year it seems like I'm doing a major repair, right? I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't really know what I was getting into, if that makes sense. So there are also lifestyle trade-offs. Owning a home ties you to a location and responsibility. Want to move cities or switch jobs quickly? That becomes harder when you're thinking about selling, timing, equity, and market conditions. Financing is another blind spot, right? Your approval amount is not the same as what you should spend. Lenders often approve more than is comfortable. The approved number assumes ideal conditions, not real life stresses, emergencies, or lifestyle costs. So that's self-explanatory. You got family emergencies, lifestyle costs. You need just a cushion. So one thing I would say I'm thankful for is I never wanted to keep up with the Joneses. Just on a personal level, I could have gotten way more of a house than I got, but I knew I wanted some cash just for business, savings, and things of that nature. So I got a house that I think my mortgage is very, very affordable. When I look at people who I help to rent properties, I'm just amazed that, wow, you paying that much? I'm paying $6, $7, $8, sometimes $900 less than you're paying, and I own a house and you're renting for the same amount of rooms, So if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you want to get this massive house, hey, eventually we all will get our forever home, right? It depends on your financial situation. But even then, to me personally, it doesn't make sense when you buy a house and you're spending all your money. It's like then you get a raise, you want to upgrade your living. Sometimes just let the money sit and incubate for a little bit, right? Don't just, let's say you get a new job and you go get a bigger house or a newer car. Sometimes you let the money sit, accumulate, then you make a move comfortably. Finally, appreciation is not guaranteed in the short term. People often expect home values to always go up, but real estate moves in cycles. If you need to sell within a few years, market timing can matter more than you expect, So thankfully, I haven't had to sell, but you're looking at Zillow. I look at the appreciation value. I thank God when I purchased my house years ago, it has appreciated in value. But what if that was not the case and I had to sell? Or I had to move? I know people who are going through foreclosure, close to foreclosure. Let's say they fell behind on their rent and they're trying to get out of the house, but they're not getting what they thought they would get, especially in this market. It's no longer a seller's market. So those are things you need to watch out for. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Once again, if you like what you saw, or if you have any questions regarding buying or selling a house in DC or Maryland, my information will be in the contact down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
All right, everybody. Welcome to your real estate podcast. And today we're going to talk about what to know when selling your home in summer 2026. As some of you may know already, the market has changed. For a long time, we were in a seller's market. You put your house on the market, it kind of flies off the shelf. Now things have changed a little bit and they're leaning more towards the buyer's side. So we're going to cover that for sellers. If you're looking to sell your house this summer, what to look out for, what to prepare for. And with that being said, if you want to ask me a question directly regarding selling your house, especially in DC and Maryland, I'll leave my contact information in the description below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That is how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell your house in Maryland or DC, my contact information is in the description below. Thank you. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. Summer is traditionally one of the busiest seasons for home sales. I would say spring is like the peak, but summer is right there with it, right? So 2026 sellers are facing a market that rewards preparation. What that means is homes fly off the shelf. I just had a listing that closed maybe a week or so ago, was probably on the market for 7 days, but there are houses that are sitting on the market for 300 days and not selling. And what a seller should focus on really is getting the house renovated, staged properly. Virtual staging is a thing now. Just be very careful that your agent or yourself, you don't mislead. Do some false advertising. Say the house looks a certain way that it's not. So be mindful of false advertising. But if you don't want to spend tons of money staging the property, you can consider virtual staging. One thing I recommend you do if you're going to stage a property virtually, I would say you put a picture of the virtual staged room location and another picture of the vacant location so people can kind of get an idea. That's also a way for you to compare both pictures to see if it's accurate, because for instance, if you're doing a living room, you don't want the AI to add a bay window that is not really part of your living room, right? So these are just things to be mindful of. Pricing accuracy is very, very key. Houses that sit on the market you would see are not priced accurately. The market has shifted a little bit. Prices are dropping just a little bit depending on the market. So I remember this one house was going for about $300,000 at the time of purchase, dealing with an investor who purchased the property and wanted to renovate it. So I gave him accurate comps. Everything around that area was going for about $300,000. By the time you get all your permits, you get all the renovations done, houses in that very area were going for 285, 282. So I told him, hey, the market has shifted. You know, that was like 6 months ago, and priced it right around that range, and it was very quick to get off the shelf. But sellers who think their house is worth more than it actually is, you know, one thing I know is the market is going to dictate what your house is worth. It's not any sentimental feelings. It's just like a bike, right? You know, some people are into motorcycles. They spend thousands of dollars getting it souped up, or let's say a sports car or these old vintage cars. Just because you spent so much money on the engine, the paint job, changing the seats on the interior, doesn't mean the buyer cares about those things. So 9 times out of 10, the market is going to dictate what your house is worth. So strong marketing, more than ever before. I would say that really helped in this property I'm talking about. Just getting a bunch of people into an open house, and you create like a FOMO, fear of missing out. And when there was so many buyers and families in that house, they saw each other, and I knew I was getting an offer, you know, the next day, because it's like when a buyer is there and they see you talking to another buyer in the kitchen, answering questions about the property, light bulbs go off like, man, I better submit an offer. I'm going to lose out on this house. So you want to do some really strong marketing. There is a best time to do an open house, and the best time for your house to sell. Not to say houses don't sell after that time period, but I would say your first 14 days are very pivotal when you list the property. You need to do the best you can to get it out in front of the right buyers, because once a house sits on the market for over a certain amount of time, buyers start questioning what's wrong with this house. You know, so strong, or they give you low ball offers. So strong marketing more than ever. If you're planning to sell your home this summer, we're going to touch on some things. Buyers are more selective than they were during the pandemic boom. So fixer-uppers, the economy is just not in that place anymore where people want to take on projects. Unless you're an investor, you don't want to buy a house and you got to work on the HVAC. You got to fix the roof, you know, got to redo the flooring, the bath. All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond. I'm a local real estate agent in Maryland and Washington, D.C. Today we're going to react to a multi-millionaire that's house poor. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
I'm a multimillionaire, and I am in over $1 million of debt. That might shock you to hear, but...
So, it's funny, I know this gentleman, he feeds animals a lot, right? He feeds animals, and that's his thing. He'll go out with a bag of food from the grocery store, just feeding foxes, cats, and he's part of these book clubs. And he gave me this book with Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki, I guess, the guy who wrote The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm actually looking at the book right now on my bookshelf. Haven't read it yet because I'm reading another book right now. But those two speak on that all the time. It's a thing. I'm not trying to get into the political thing, but Trump and this guy, they filed bankruptcy maybe 11, 12 times total between the two of them or more, but they're considered billionaires. They preach that philosophy of real estate and getting wealthy through debt. Talk about good debt and bad debt, the concept of using money to work for you. You can get into debt if you go get an asset. Then you got the Dave Ramsey school of thought that all debt is bad, pay off your house completely. They don't believe in just buying one property and another on credit, because the banks can come and collect at any time. So just because you own all these properties and you're paying all this mortgage, if you read the fine print in some of these loan contracts, you can be good, but the bank can come and ask you for all the money. Don't know how true that is, but some of those, especially when you get into the investment property thing, if the banks feel like you high risk, or they just got too many high risk loans out there, they may come and collect. And if you don't have them, they can foreclose on you. So that's how these millionaires and billionaires sometimes can go into bankruptcy, right? I gave all that to say I am familiar with the wealthy people being in debt. And that's what she's talking about. Enough of that. Let's jump right back in.
When I purchased my house about a year ago, I did not pay for my house in cash. I could have paid for my house in cash, but it was a strategic decision not to. Because, fun fact, debt is called debt if you're broke and poor. Debt is called leverage if you're rich. It gets a full rebrand when you are rich. And let me talk to you about why I decided to take out a mortgage instead of paying for cash. So, mortgage rates at the time of buying were about 7%.
Yeah, so I've seen this a lot. They say only, I hate to use the word stupid, but only stupid people buy a house or car cash. And the idea of it, I see a lot of wealthy people say that. I think even Mr. Beast was talking about a studio that he bought, even though he had the money. Somebody asked him, "Did you pay cash?" He said, "No, I financed it." Here's the thought process behind that. If I have a house and I pay $700,000 cash for that house, that is $700,000 that is gone that I cannot use to make more money. The idea is once I get to a certain place in wealth building, my money should work for me. So if my money is the tool or the engine that's going to make money for me, I'll be stupid to tie that down or give it away. I'd rather go get this $700,000 home and pay $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, depending on what your interest rates are, and use that $700,000 in cash. I can even use $600,000 in cash and let that invest for me at a 9% return, 4% return, 12% return. And I can just keep $100,000 and let that pay my mortgage every month. That is a school of thought to where this interest is not, the interest that I'm paying on this mortgage is not going to be more than I can make if I invest this money. All right, let's go.
Which are high. That's a very high mortgage rate. But on average in the stock market, we have made 10% or more over the past 30-ish years of the S&P 500. The S&P 500 being the 500 biggest companies in the US stock market. So my logic is I can tie up multi-millions of dollars in cash by taking my cash and paying for my house. And yes, then I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any of those things. But it actually makes more sense for me to take out the mortgage, to take on debt, to borrow money, so that instead my money can be making me 3% or more money over here in the stock market. So it is cheaper for me to go into debt than it is to actually.
Yeah, that's what I just talked about. But I'll be honest, not in this economy. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not a financial advisor. Go talk to a financial planner. But the mortgage rate now is at 7%. Yes, you can possibly make 12, 9. That's a swing and a miss in this economy with everything going on. But to her, it still makes more sense. A 12% or 3% return is still better than putting this money there. I would say that would have been a great strategy during the pandemic years when interest rates were somewhere in the 2.7s, 2.9s, even 4 in the latter, maybe a year after the pandemic, right? Then you still got a lot more wiggle room in case the stock market doesn't perform as good as you thought it may perform. Because if you get a 4% mortgage and you make 9%, on your stock investment, you still got 5% profit. That makes total sense. But once you get to that 7 and the return is at 9 to 12, that's cutting it too close for me personally. But it ain't my money, it's hers. That's a choice she chose to make. Make sure you speak to a financial advisor. I kind of get the school of thought. Don't know if I would risk that in this market. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to this video in the description down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I mentioned, I do service the DC and Maryland area. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, visit my website, which will be in the description down below. Book a 15-minute free consultation on the calendar, and we'll go from there. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond. I'm a local real estate agent in the state of Maryland. Today we got a video for you, and it's about foreclosures. We're gonna react to it. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
So there are there are a lot of things I'm adapting to since losing my house last year. And I've shared before, it's not that I've never lost the place before. I went through Hurricane Katrina at age 14, and we had nothing. The hurricane took everything. My first apartment, couldn't pay the rent, was pregnant, all of that. The way God worked that out still blows my mind, but I mean, the ice storm in Texas took our apartment. Like, I've been through loss before, but right now what I'm getting used to is a smaller kitchen. The house I had that foreclosed, I had a more spacious kitchen, a wider kitchen.
Well, hopefully she can get to why and how she foreclosed, because this is a real estate channel. There are some personal life lessons that we can glean from, but I try to stick with the real estate part of it. What causes foreclosures? Hurricane Katrina. I did visit Louisiana in 2015. I don't know when Katrina happened. Was it 05, I believe? So 10 years later, the guy whose house we went to, even though he had painted the house, there were portions of the house where you could see the line. It's almost at shoulder level. 10 years later, you could see that line, maybe even outside where the water was. At shoulder level, it was a duplex. He rented one side and he had the back end of the house. You could see he could point the line out to where the flooding was. Anyway, hopefully she can get to why she foreclosed. Let's keep listening.
Now that kitchen, I own the kitchen. That was my house, so I had to get used to not owning what I'm using. And I'm really learning that, like, every season of life that I'm going through has something to teach me. And don't get me wrong, I'm still healing from the grief of foreclosure. I'm still healing through the grief of, I had it, nah, I don't have it.
You had it, then you don't have it. My question is, did you ever have it? You know, home ownership is like, if you haven't paid for it completely, honestly, even when you're done paying for it, if you don't pay your property taxes, would you still own it? So I guess you enjoy it while you have it, you plan accordingly. But as long as you're paying a mortgage, yes, I'm a homeowner, but I'm still paying mortgage. Do I really own the house? that's a question I kind of grapple with. So the grief of foreclosure can be something, but also the recovery from that, right? Like once you foreclose on a house, now you got to worry about your credit being bad. And how long is that going to be on your record? So if you foreclose on a house at a certain time, it'll take so many years before you can possibly buy a house again, because lenders are going to see that. I think 7 years that stays on your record, if I'm not mistaken. Unless you land some kind of cash to invest, I don't know how you're gonna just buy a house again after a foreclosure. So the grief, the emotional aspect of it, I get, but there are also financial ramifications from foreclosing that I was hoping she can get into, but I can't tell her how to grieve and explain herself. Let's keep going.
I was proud to own a home. I believe I'll own a home again. But as I'm maturing, for the lessons that are there for me, if I'm willing to learn them, not just lesson, but the perspective shifting. That's what I'd rather say. I'm learning lessons, but my perspective is growing from one that's bitter, angry, frustrated, or ashamed to, wow, look at what I'm learning. Look at what I'm getting from this. So I personally still wish I had a larger kitchen. I'm like a more open concept kitchen person. I'm starting to, I would say, even prioritize cleaning the kitchen more, because since it's smaller, I have
Once again, she's not really talking about what caused the foreclosure. It's more like a cope, I guess. People come to the internet to cope. She lost her house. I want to glean the cause, right? The cause, because I'm a real estate agent talking to buyers and homeowners. How do you lose your house? Was it a job? What caused it? Did you buy a house you couldn't afford? You know, so this concept of I'm an open kitchen concept person, or I'm a Bentley driving concept person, I don't really understand that. You are a person of what you have accomplished. You know, it's kind of harsh, but life does throw curveballs at people. But yes, I have a fantasy of the life I would want to live, but if I haven't built that or accomplished it yet, I'm not that person. In my mind, I guess there's some kind of saying, manifestation. I understand that. Or as when I was trying to climb up the corporate ladder, they say dress for the role you want, not the role you have. So if you want to get a promotion to another level, you dress like that role. It kind of gets your mindset there. Or some people say if you want to move into a neighborhood, drive around it a few times, so you kind of aspire for that. Let's say it's a very affluent area, or you want to buy some kind of something expensive, you go do window shopping. If you want to drive a Ferrari, you go to a Ferrari dealership, you go manifest it, I guess. So I get that concept, but I'm also a realist. If I don't have an open kitchen, I'm not an open kitchen person. I haven't accomplished it. That's a fantasy in my mind. I'm a person of what I have, what I've accomplished. I'm not, I'm a mansion type of person. If I don't have a mansion, I'm not a mansion person. So she said she's an open kitchen concept person. How? You're not there. You understand? Get to reality, but I hope she would have expressed what caused the foreclosure. That's what I was trying to glean.
half the amount of counter space in here, but the same amount of kids. It's still 5 kids. And now the baby eats 2. So I need I'm using so this kitchen has more shelves than, I think than my last kitchen did. I don't know. But I just appreciate that, one, I have a kitchen, right? Because I have a kitchen that I'm using. I can still feed my family. But I think if I had stayed in a position of loss, I don't have a kitchen. I don't have my own kitchen anymore. I wouldn't have gotten to this gratefulness. I wouldn't have gotten to this place of, okay, show me how to thrive where I am now, God. I'm not where I was. I don't know where exactly I'm going, but help me to thrive where I am now. And we still eat. I still cook. I still got a knife. This knife was a gift. We lost a lot, but things have been replaced. Cutting onions, using...
Yeah, well, I guess it's more so about a personal cope than explaining how she got there. I try not to watch all these videos. Most of them I try not to watch because I want to give you guys the honest reaction and live reaction without thinking it through or having, don't want to fake it. So what I'll say here, I appreciate her appreciating what she has, if anything. I appreciate her appreciation, I guess, of what she has. And that's something that we as a society tend not to do a lot of. We're always in the fantasy of what I want, what I desire. And that's actually funny. I'm reading a book right now that's titled The Power of Now, right? Only read a few pages of it. Some of it doesn't necessarily work for me. Like anything in life, you take the good, you leave the bad, right? So I'm a Christian, and he talked about other religions, and so that those things kind of throw me off when I read books like that. But I glean what I can apply. So that power of now, I think, is something that I appreciate, or that she's talking about, appreciating your now, your circumstances now, rather than being stuck in the past, ruminating, I guess is the word, you're in your head. Let's say you have a bad conversation with a spouse, a boss, a client, whatever. You're ruminating, you're just chewing those words, you're replaying it over and over in your head, and you never move past that. And you think whatever slip up you may have had defines you. It's like a constant shame. The incident has already happened, and you can't be stuck in that. So sometimes some people say give yourself 3 days to mourn and pick yourself up. In some parts and aspects of life, you don't have time to just be there dwelling on the failures of life. They happen to everybody, myself included. So I guess that's the positive I can take with this video, or what she's trying to say is she lost something and she has 5 kids, and she's going to appreciate where she's at now. That is, to me, a better thing rather than stuck in what you lost. As a real estate agent doing these videos on foreclosures, I would have appreciated the story as to how I got here, rather than woe is me, which is not necessarily what she's doing. She's trying to get over that. I understand that. Well, thanks for watching. I'll leave a link to this video in the description down below. And also, if you're looking to purchase a home in DC or Maryland, visit my website, which will be in the description down below. Book a free 15-minute consultation. I'll see you in the next one.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
2026 home buyer trends and strategies, affordability over price. So it just is what it is. There was once upon a time when some people still do it, try to keep up with the Joneses. The more money you make, the more you try to elevate your standard of living. So you were okay driving that Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic. Now you make a few more dollars. You want to go get a BMW, a Benz. You probably were living in a not so decent house, but it served the need. Now you got an increase at your job and you want to buy a bigger house. So people always try to elevate their standard of living, but now buyers are tending to lean more towards affordability because it's just the reality of it. Focus on the total monthly payment, including insurance taxes, which are rising faster than income. Especially, I live in the state of Maryland right now. There's a lot of, if you earn this much, you got to pay. You know, Maryland is leaning a little bit more towards the California tax thing, you know, which may help people in low income, but if you are making a decent amount of money, you got to keep that in mind. Your property taxes also, as houses in the area appreciate, your property tax is going to appreciate with it, right? So what your mortgage may be this year may be different next year, not because your mortgage is not stable, it's because the taxes have gone up. So something to think about. Long-term mindset. Choose a home suitable for at least 5 to 7 years to ride out market volatility. And honestly, that's what I did when I purchased my first home. You ain't got to be like me, but I bought a house that I feel as though I can afford comfortably, you know. Honestly speaking, I show houses to buyers all the time, and you get to see their income and what they qualify for. And some of these buyers barely qualify for things, but they want the best, you know. So, hands down, on a personal note, I think I could afford a much bigger house than I currently live in. But it's like, okay, I'm going to buy this and ride it out for 5 to 7 years and, you know, use the money to start other, you know, just things, you know, and just get myself in a comfortable position. So if I want to upgrade, I can upgrade, or maybe try make this a rental property, build your real estate portfolio. It's just, if you go through a financial downturn personally, you don't want to have to go into foreclosure, do a short sale, try to get rid of your house because you're spending every single dime on mortgage and bills. So get a house that, you know, you can afford with a few extra dollars to maintain your standard of living, and just in case of emergencies, right? Maintenance or just medical, you never know, right? So I don't believe in living paycheck to paycheck and spending every single dime. Once upon a time, we all go through those things when you're young. You got an apartment, probably in school, you probably go through those things, right? But as you become an adult, it's like, my advice to home buyers, buy something that you can be comfortable with financially. You know, you don't want to be pinching pennies to pay your mortgage. Not a good strategy, especially in how volatile the market is. You know, and we live in an area right here that is kind of dependent upon the federal government, right? The DC and Maryland area, the Washington metropolitan, which also encompasses Virginia, Northern Virginia. Most jobs rely on the federal government, and we saw all the federal government job cuts. So you don't know, and this is just for this area, but other areas are going through things as well. So things are kind of unstable, not unsure. You hear possible switching of the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. So you never know where things are going to go with the new person, the new policies. So we're kind of like in a volatile situation right now as an economy, a nation. So if you can afford a house right now, get it, but don't spend your last dime, and don't get a house where all your money goes towards bills. Rising costs. Prepare for higher closing costs to ensure you have emergency funds for maintenance and not just down payment. You know, I was told when I bought my house, have at least $5,000 left over, which I didn't, because at the time I also made, it's like things come in threes. I made a big purchase. I did something big as well on the family side, and it was just big expenditures back to back to back, and I was almost cash strapped. Thankfully, I bought a house that I could afford and I have extra money. But if I had gotten the house I really qualified for, the highest dollar I qualified for, God knows what would have happened, because all those expenditures, and you know, you spend everything and now you're pinching pennies. So I always recommend buy a house and make sure you have at least 5,000 extra. If you're buying a new construction, then possibly the warranty should take care of things, but sometimes these things delay. You may need to repair it and then get reimbursed or whatever, which you don't necessarily have to do, but there are nightmare stories with new constructions. They're all over the news and social media. You can look into them. So still have extra money, or you still may need to furnish the house. You know, or you may spend all of that and then you got to pay your mortgage. Just keep a little something on the side, right? Rainy day funds, right? If you're buying an older house, you never know. Things may look good. You get in, you got to change the roof. Always do a home inspection, by the way. But you may still buy the house, things look good, the inspector passed it, and then you run into the refrigerator pops. You know, the water line pops in something, you know, your washer, dryer goes bad, you know. I just had to replace a dryer, and I've been in my house now for at least 4 years, but I never liked that dryer anyway, but that's what was in the house. I kind of always wanted to replace it, and then, was it the dryer or the washer that went bad? It might have been the washer, but it was one of those single units where they're attached. And the bad side about that, once one goes bad, you got to replace both. So I bought 2 separate units now, you know, and it's just something to think about. At least it lasted 4 years. But as soon as I got in, maybe a year in or so, I had to change the water heater. These are just things to think about. You know, the water heater, you got to change. And then thankfully, everything else has worked. But I've done repairs that I wanted to do. But the water heater was like, you have to. And also, I had to do like septic work, you know. These are things I didn't see coming, you know. So I try to advise buyers, you never know what's going to pop up. When the septic tank goes bad, if you got a family, you need your septic working, right? Some people are in areas that with public sewage. I'm a little further out, and I prefer where I'm at because of the land space, get a lot of land. But when you live so far out, sometimes you get the land, but you don't get connection to all the public facilities. So you need a septic system, and then boom, that goes bad. You got to get that fixed. It's not something you could live without. The water heater went bad. Got to get that fixed. Not something you could live without, you know, so. What I wish I knew before buying my first home. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. But I'll say this, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. That's how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to purchase or sell a property in DC or Maryland, I'm your guy. My contact information will be in the description down below. So signs you're ready to buy a house. 1, your finances are solid. Not just okay, you know, a steady income that's likely to continue. So that's why even lenders look for at least 2 years of that particular employment, not that you've been employed for 50 years. They want to know that you've been working for that particular company for 2 years. A down payment, often 3 to 20% depending on the loan type. Closing costs, typically 2 to 5% of the purchased property. That's average closing cost. I would say around the 4 to 5-ish, but 2 to 5 depending on what you can negotiate. Anyway, we out of here, man. Yeah, so as mentioned, you know, while I was there with the buyer, she came with her husband and the 2 children. I was able to ask some qualifying questions, better feel of how soon they're ready to move and what they're looking for. You know, so that's always a good thing, and that's the right way to do it, I think. You know, it's always good to qualify people so they don't waste your time. Yeah, it's always good to qualify people so they don't waste your time, but it's also good to provide them with what they're looking for. And then you give them something they feel comfortable giving you more. And the beautiful thing about it is, you know, I got a couple houses under contract in the area, so they asked me, do you show a lot of properties in this area? And I had a folder. I normally have a folder for people I meet for the first time, and I had all those flyers in that folder. And I say, yeah, I do, and here go the folder. Also had some information for them as well as home buyers, but that always comes in handy when you can show somebody that's interested in buying in an area that I'm delivering results for home buyers in this area. So that was definitely a plus. And there's no guarantee they're going to work with me, but I think I answered a lot of their questions. There's some more feedback and things of that nature, follow-up that needs to be done. And that's the beauty of it. So we're going to do that follow-up over time, slowly, and build a rapport to where when they think about buying or selling a house, you're the person that comes to mind, you know? That's exactly where we're trying to go. Yeah, so that's the day in the life of a realtor. It's going on 4:30, and responsibilities. You already, if you're okay with repairs coming out of your pocket, because you can't call the maintenance guy anymore. That's a big difference with renting and owning. You can't call the landlord. You are the landlord, right? Yard work, you know, HVAC issues, roof problems, etc. You know. Next, you say you have a clear budget and pre-approval. A strong sign of readiness is you know your price range based on real numbers, not just guessing. You're pre-approved, your activities are getting there, and you understand monthly payment limits, not just the price of the home, you know. Finally, we'll say renting is no longer serving your goals, you know. For example, rent is rising faster than your income. So now you're paying somebody else's mortgage, or you're making somebody else wealthy. So you might as well start building equity. You know, you want stability or equity building. So stability is like you probably are going to get married, or you landed a job where you think you're going to build a career, or you move to the perfect state or neighborhood and you want to build a family there, or just want to stay there, or you want to build equity rather than paying somebody else's mortgage off. You want to start paying yours off and building equity. And you need more space or control over your home. So space is a key thing, and control, just those are some of the rights that come with owning a house, right? The right of control, the right of exclusion, meaning you can exclude people from coming to your house, things of that nature, but you just want that control, right? How much house can you afford today, right? The honest answer is it depends on your income, debt, down payment, credit score, and interest rates. Most lenders still use the 28-36 rule as a starting point. Housing costs should stay below 28% of your gross income, and all debt combined below 36% of your income. So they do that and see where you are. Quick 2026 affordability estimates. You'll say good credit score, and you'll say 20% down. That's the max. I wouldn't say the max, but at least for conventional. Typically, mortgage rates are around the mid 6% right now. So minimal other debts, right? So let's say your annual household income. These are just approximates. It's not etched in stone. But if your annual household income is about $50,000, you probably can afford between $160,000 to $220,000 of a house. Once again, this is all predicated on other expenses and also where you live, and your debts, right? Minimal, you say your annual household income around $75,000, you're now looking at $250,000 to the $320,000 range. If your annual household income is $100,000, you're looking at $340,000 to $400,000. Once again, this all depends on your lifestyle. If you have a $1,000 or $1,500 car note, then you got to drop that house affordability, right? But let's say all things being equal, you don't have a lot of debt. These are the approximate home prices. If you're making about $125,000, you can afford between $430,000 to $500,000, right? If you're making $150K, you're looking at $525,000 to approximately $600,000. And if you're making $200,000, you're looking at $700,000 plus. So if your household income is $100,000 a year, a comfortable monthly payment is roughly $2,300 a month, which generally supports your home price around $340,000 or $400,000, depending on your taxes, your insurance, your down payment, right? Because the more you put down, the less you got to pay monthly. Don't forget cost of, property taxes. We talked about those. Homeowners insurance, HOA fees, maintenance, repairs, and then utility bills, right? Because these are all other costs you're going to add with that. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what you can afford in this market right now, right? Things change if interest rates go down or they go up. How much house do you really need? How much money do you really need to buy a house? Common misconception is that you need 20% down to buy a house. In reality, many buyers purchase homes with much less. I see that a lot now. There's this conventional 3%. Conventional 3% because back in the day when the 20% standard was set, homes were affordable. Even if they were not super affordable, at least the cost of living was lower. So if you make $60,000, $70K, $100,000, you can really afford something nice. Back in the day, somebody once came and said $140,000 is just breaking even in the poverty line, just the way things are expensive. So now a lot of lenders knowing 20% of a $400,000 house, that's a lot of money, right? When you think about that, it's like $80,000. Lenders know people don't necessarily save up to 80 grand to buy a house. So they made this conventional 3% where it's $12,000 more feasible, right? So we stick with that number, $400,000. 3% down would be $12,000. 5% down would be $20,000, and 20% down would be $80,000. Closing costs, as mentioned, would be usually between 2 to 5% of the purchase price. These can include lender fees, title fees, appraisals, taxes, and insurance. For a $400,000 home, expect roughly to have $8,000 to $20,000 extra, in closing costs. This is separate from your down payment. So you got to add that 8 to 20 grand plus that down payment, right? So next thing we're going to talk about is moving and initial home expenses, moving costs. Do you need to rent a truck, hire people to help you move, or do you have your buddies that are going to help you do that? Utility deposits, minor repairs, furniture and appliances. Are you buying a home with all new appliances, or would you have to replace some of those? Would you need to furnish? What I see sometimes, people buy these big mansions and they just move in what they have, and as they live in there, they slowly furnish the different rooms. I saw that with multiple people I knew. One person purchased the house for about 700 grand, brand new construction. By the time it got done building, it was worth 100 grand. So they bought the house, moved in with 300K in equity already. They didn't have enough money to furnish the entire house. They came from a townhouse to their forever home. So they just moved their townhouse furniture in certain places. And then as time progressed, they just furnished the rest of the house. And I saw that with another family I knew, pretty well to do. They bought $1 million home, but once again, they had a townhome. They just moved that furniture there. And a couple of years later, when I went to go see them, the whole house was furnished. It took time, right? So that can be a strategy. Real world example, for instance, for a $400,000 house, you put 3% down, that's $12,000. Closing cost is about $10,000. Move-in / setup cost would be another 3 grand. So total needed would be approximately 25 to 30 grand. All right. Yeah, so we done with this showing. Getting ready to head out. Heading out right now, actually. Kind of happy the way things worked out. Had 3 showings for this client today. One wanted to reschedule. This was her first choice anyway. The second one, they got a bidding war going on that one, and it's 2 p.m. today is the deadline. She's not gonna make a decision today, obviously, she wants the whole family to be able to view the property. So that one, once they said we gotta, I just dropped something down here, so I want to get it before I start driving. Once they said we needed to submit and plus put in the GPS, submit an offer by 2 p.m. That one kind of took itself off the table, which worked out for me, honestly speaking. I've been going on 1, 3. I've been going for maybe close to 24 hours. I need to go get some Z's, man. I need to go get some sleep. I've been going for almost 24 hours straight, just grinding. So I need to go get some rest. But I had already agreed to these 3 showings, so I'm kind of happy the very first one is the only one we were able to view. Y'all should see this neighborhood we're driving in, man. Nice houses everywhere. So I definitely see why she would love it for her family. Yeah, they might be throwing in an offer on this thing soon. So we're gonna schedule another showing for this property. But yeah, that's all it is, man, as far as the real estate thing goes. Some days you get a lot of showings, some days you get listing appointments, some days you don't get anything, But before you get that check, I've shown a lady a lot of properties, not this client here, but another client ended up buying a house. But then I remember I showed another client maybe 20 or so properties before we ended up closing on one. So we are at like maybe 5 or 6 properties with this client here. And even it's not even guaranteed you're gonna get it, even if they like it, because it's a very nice neighborhood and competitive, you know, so you know you're gonna get multiple offers possibly. We'll just see. There's an accident right here. 3-car accident. Don't know if y'all saw that. It's unfortunate. Yeah, but this is a very, very nice neighborhood. One of the top and most upscale neighborhoods in Prince George's County. I mean, PG County got some nice neighborhoods, but this one is kind of up there in the county. A lot of people are moving over here. It'll be very good for her to get it with her family, and it's gonna be a steal. House got a lot of potential, so I'm very excited. I like when you get somebody something they like. That's the whole joy in doing this, is getting people something they like, you know. You don't want to sell somebody a property they gotta live in there and they got regrets, you know. Yeah, so heading back now, and I'm gonna call it a day. You know, another day in the grind. I gotta do a better job tracking my mileage for expenses, because I've been driving a lot this year. You know, and those all could be deductible. I just take like the standard deduction for that, but I think I need to be more deliberate and intentional on tracking. These are all things you need an assistant for, to handle those things. It's just I got so much other things on my plate right now. I'm not tracking mileage, gas, you know. But yeah, we'll look more into that as the days go by. All right, y'all, have a good one. Look at the neighborhood, see what houses in your market are going for, and you want to be right around that ballpark. Declutter and depersonalize, and that's one thing I struggled with this one seller, and I just kind of backed out of taking the listing. Just him understanding, you know. And personally, I'm a Christian, but I don't know if I want to see a picture of Jesus in the bedroom, you know, because for instance, not all Christians believe in those pictures being Jesus, you know, so just there are conflicts there. And I'm a Christian, but I don't know if that's the right thing you should have there when you're selling your house. But how do you communicate that to this person when they're very strong in their religious displays? I wouldn't even say beliefs, you don't know, but you just try to tell them, just take that out, because you never know. You understand who's buying your house. Not all Christians think a picture of somebody is actually Jesus Christ. It may be offensive. Some people are not Christians. So this is something I've witnessed, and you're scrolling through their previous expired listings. You see why it didn't sell. They just got all these personal pictures up there. The house is just full and it looks so tight, but the house is a really nice house with space. Sometimes you may need to use the garage, use a bedroom as a storage unit, just box things up, you know. And if a seller is now willing to declutter and depersonalize, sometimes you still may take the listing, but at least let them know this is not the best way for it to go. You know, if you really are trying to sell, get an agent that's gonna do the right things for you. And if you work with them, sometimes the right agent may even cover a storage unit for you, you know. If you really are trying to sell, some sellers are like, I could sell it, I could wait. Then, you know, you at least know. But if this person has to sell, if they got a garage they can use as a storage unit, or one of the bedrooms, at least let the buyers know, hey, this bedroom is full of stuff. You can at least see the dimensions, but the rest of the house looks like a showroom area. People can understand that. podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That is how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell your house in Maryland or DC, my contact information is in the description below. Thank you. I sold a house one time in Annapolis where it was a garage. We just turned it into a big storage unit where people were not able to walk the garage. They could just open it and see the size of the garage, but the rest of the house looked like a showroom, and the house was able to sell. It's better you get one little section of your house that's cluttered and full of all your stuff, and the rest of the house is just accessible and it flows. So just depersonalize, take away just your religious symbols. Those things are personal to you. Your kids graduate. Let the buyer feel as though it's their house. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't want to offend anybody in their religious beliefs, just let the buyer feel as though it's their house and they're going to make it their place, not you feeling that way. So here's another thing, just on a spiritual level, right? Some people may see things as a spiritual battle if they think you turn this place into some kind of shrine, and you may just turn off another buyer. Let's say I'm a Christian, and if I see some other religious things there, I feel as though it was a temple to worship another god. I don't want to live here. Or vice versa, if I'm some other religion and I see Christian symbols there, and now you think there's going to be some kind of spiritual battle. These are things you don't consider as a homeowner, but there are people that think like that. So when people come into your house, let them see flowers, just nice river paintings, just general decor, and nothing personal, nothing speaking of you. It's like going to a store, a retail store. Some retail stores thrive on standing on their Christian or religious beliefs, but then they only cater to that client. If you are only trying to sell to a certain person, then fine. Maybe a for sale by owner is best for you. But if you just want to sell your house and, to the most qualified buyer, you want to make it general for the masses. So declutter, depersonalize, complete small repairs. We talked about that. Leaky roofs, loose door handles, chip paint. It's crazy what chip paint can do when you think about an FHA loan. FHA loans, when the paint is chipping and stuff, they would not approve it for the most part. They would think it's lead-based paint, especially in homes past 1970, built before 1978. So chip paint, running toilet, burnt out light bulbs, cracked caulking, just little things like that. Get an agent that does professional photography. They just generate more clicks, more hype. You get stronger leads and offers, prepare for showings. So preparing for showings, best case scenario is like you don't live in the house. The house is show ready, people can come and go. But I do understand that you may have to live in the house as you're selling it. You gotta have your house. It's almost like you're just renting an Airbnb. That's how you wanna take it. You can't just get too settled. Even in your house, you've decluttered, you just got a few bowls, few plates that you're gonna use, and always keeping it clean. So when you do get a showing alert, maybe you tell your agent, hey, I need at least an hour, or I'll be working from home during these hours, block it off. And when it's time to show, at least 1 hour notice, you can just touch up your house, get it clean. Try not to get too many smells in your house, even if you're living there. I remember I went to show this house and they were cooking, and it's a distinct smell. And the buyer just made it really quick. It's just like daughter's in the room upstairs, dad is in the living room, mom is in the kitchen cooking. It just didn't feel inviting. It almost felt like we're encroaching on their little family time, and we just wanted to get in and out. You're doing yourself a disservice. If you get an hour window, strong colognes or strong cooking smells are not a good thing. And if you can, just get out of the house. You can sit in your parking lot. You can watch people come in. You can even install a camera. Just put a sign that, hey, things have been recorded here. Install a camera, sit in your car, and then just give people the freedom to actually look around. because when you're there, your kids are up in one room, your wife is in another room. People just feel like they're encroaching on your time and they just want to be in and out. Even if they like the house, they don't feel the comfort. Or sometimes a seller being present can be a plus. I've seen that as well. So it all depends on the situation. Let's say your house is like a showroom. Maybe you get your, and you're there as a tour guide answering questions. Oh, the AC was done at this time. If they were solicited, you got to read the room. Some buyers just want to look on their own. They don't want to feel like you're selling them on anything. Nobody wants to be sold, so read the room. If the buyer is asking you questions, then yes, you can. Okay, I repaired the roof at this time. The AC was done at this time. But some buyers just want to be left alone. And some sellers, that's why I say get an agent, because some sellers just feel as though you walk in my house, I'm going to guide you through and tell you, and it can put people off, so just be careful. I would say just get an agent, get a little time, window when people are coming to see your house. If you live there, step out. If you require your agent to be around, you can negotiate that in your contract. Don't negotiate personally. One is, like I mentioned, going to divorce court by yourself, and your spouse or your ex-spouse has a high-powered lawyer. They're going to clean you out, and you're going to feel like you've been abused by the court system, or just lawsuits, going there representing yourself against, these lawyers that's what they do for a living. You're just food. So sometimes if you try to negotiate personally, sometimes you got your feelings involved in things, what you think something is worth. And then you deal with like an agent who sells so many houses to negotiate aggressively. You may lose out. Sometimes you may negotiate too aggressively and it can turn people off because you got your personal feelings involved. Yeah, review every offer carefully. So once again, just because you get the most money from an offer doesn't mean it's the best, so review every offer carefully. And in Maryland, it's amazing. You got to submit offers even all the way to closing. Obviously, you're under contract and there can be some legal ramifications from backing out of a contract. But as a seller, just know your agent should be submitting offers to you, even if you're under contract, unless you tell them expressly in a written form that I don't want any offers. Then they can make that known. Seller is not accepting offers, but you can always accept backup offers just in case something falls through. Prepare the home for home inspection. One thing I recommend is you preempt that. You go get your home inspection. You fix the things the inspector recommends prior to even going on the market. So you don't always have to show it to buyers. But when they come with their nonsense, you can say, hey, I did an inspection. These are the required repairs. They're already done. I actually just closed on a house where we had all those repairs done. And when the inspector walked it, they're like, oh, you got to flush out the HVAC. We just provided receipts. Like, okay, that was done. This was done. Okay, we'll do that. And then we closed. All right. And trust the process, showings, offers, negotiation, appraisal, title work, final walkthrough, and then closing. That's how it goes. So just trust the process. And any final thoughts? I'll say selling your home for the first time can feel overwhelming, but preparation is everything. Choose the right realtor, price strategically, make your home show ready, and stay flexible throughout the process. Sellers who focus on presentation, pricing, and professional guidance typically experience smoother transactions and stronger sale prices. That is just the fact. Not gonna say it because I'm a realtor, but I get more money sometimes go with agents. You do have some homes that just are gonna sell themselves. I've been to some neighborhoods where neighborhood is hot, house looks good. Yeah, I go try to give the seller some of my spiel as to why they should hire me, but I know very well this guy can sell this house on its own. This house is going to sell on its own. Sometimes I even tell him. As a gentleman, I told that. I said, listen, you're in a very hot neighborhood. This house is going to sell on its own. I don't know if it's going to sell for the most money, though. And it sold in a week, but he left some money on the table. But maybe he saw that as realtor fees and he was okay with it. But I felt like he left about 20 to 30 grand on the table if I would have listed it. But he did it for sale by owner. Another topic we're going to cover is 10 things to fix when selling your home, because we talked about getting your home show ready and doing repairs. Not all repairs are necessary. I like to live by the golden rule: you do unto others as you want done unto you. Sometimes I even get home warranties on behalf of my sellers for at least 1 year. It just covers me at least for a year as a realtor. You know, even though buyers have like 3 years to go file complaints, but I just try to make sure the product is good. That's all. So not all sellers can afford that. Sometimes you're in a hard financial situation. You ain't got money to repair a house, but you got to get it up off of you. And it's like, I got to sell this house. I would love to repair it, but I don't have the money, right? But in this market now where people are looking for move-in ready houses, you know, I'm not telling you go into some major massive repair and then you can't recoup the money. You spend way more into repairs than when you think about repair costs, and what your house is going to sell for is still not worth it. So I would say, you know, thinking about selling your home, many homeowners assume they need to repair every flaw before listing. That's not necessarily true, but that's often a costly mistake. You know, in today's market, some repairs simply don't deliver enough value to justify the expense. Before you spend thousands of dollars on upgrades, here are 10 things you should think twice about before putting your home on the market. Number one, we'll say minor infractions. So small nail holes, minor scratches on the walls, tiny dents on the trim, you know, work usually don't deter serious buyers, you know. While a fresh coat of paint can help, you know, just these little things buyers they don't really care too much, you know. Just every, you know, imperfection is not really worth the time and money, unless you're dealing with some kind of obsessive buyer that's just nitpicking every single thing. But just some little things you can get away with. But I can tell you though, a fresh coat of paint goes a long way. Outdated functional appliances, yes, that doesn't necessarily need to be replaced. You know, a brand new kitchen with brand new appliances looks better. But if your appliances are older but still working properly, replacing them may not significantly increase your home's value. Most buyers understand that appliances can be updated later according to their personal preferences. I bought a home, was it 4 or 5 years ago? I only had to change the water heater so far. The stove wasn't brand new, the refrigerator wasn't brand new, but they're still functional. So what if that seller would have added those costs when these things have, oh, I changed the washer and dryer. Was it last Thanksgiving when they had the Black Friday sale? Because the washer, it was that one unit, the washer and dryer connected. Either one of them wasn't working, but because it was one single unit, you got to swap out both. So in 4 years of being here, washer and dryer, water heater, but I still got the stove and the other refrigerator and other appliances. So just think about it. And it took actually 3 years of living here for the washer or dryer to go out. So not all appliances need to be replaced. Slightly worn carpeting, that can it can enhance the value of the home. But if your carpet is like really tore up, a lot of stains, if it's like these plain colors that you can get a steam cleaner in there and get it clean, that can be an option. But be mindful of like these colored carpets, like a burgundy, a blue, green. If you try to deep clean those, you can fade the colors and people can actually see the difference in colors, which is like a disservice to the house. So I would say sometimes you may need to replace the carpet, but if it's slightly worn carpeting, unless the carpet is heavily stained, torn, or producing odors, replacing all the flooring can be expensive. Professional cleaning is often enough to improve the appearance. Number 4, we're going to say minor driveway and wall cracks. Hairline cracks through concrete are common and generally don't concern buyers. Most structural issues should be addressed, but cosmetic cracks can rarely justify costly repairs. So if you see the house, like one time we went to see this very, very nice house, in Clinton, Maryland. But you can almost see like it's sinking, you know, like the foundation is not working. That got to get addressed. But just a little crack, I got a couple of cracks in my driveway. When I cut the grass, I got to go with the weed whacker and get that little grass that's growing in between the concrete. Maybe I should just seal it off. Anyway, I'll just say that's not something that would drive away buyers. Old kitchen cabinets. So a complete kitchen remodel is one of the most expensive projects a homeowner can undertake. Kitchens can go anywhere from 10 grand, maybe sometimes cheaper, all the way to 50,000 or more, depending on the size of the home. If your cabinets are functional, consider simple improvements such as cleaning, hardware replacements, or repainting instead of a full renovation. Sometimes you got a cabinet refacing. Those are also kind of expensive. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to swap out your entire kitchen. Dated bathrooms. Many sellers spend thousands updating bathrooms only to recover a portion of the investment. If everything works properly, focus on cleanliness, fresh caulk, and minor cosmetic improvements rather than a full remodel. Another thing, number 7, will say partially finished basements. Don't feel pressure to finish an unfinished basement before selling. Buyers often prefer a lower price and opportunity to customize the space themselves. You know, so think about that. Number 8 will say windows. Older windows still function. Newer windows can help. Pricing, especially due to energy consumption, you know, but replacing every window in your home can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Unless windows are damaged, leaking, or failing to operate properly, the return on investment is often disappointing. But windows definitely can upgrade your house if they are new. But let's say if they are old and you got a lot of air draft coming through it in the wintertime, new windows are a plus. But if you got functional windows that are sealed properly, you don't necessarily have to swap them out. Landscaping perfection. Curb appeal matters, but you don't need a magazine-worthy yard. Basic maintenance such as mowing, trimming shrubs, mulching, flower beds, and removing weeds is usually enough. Number 10, you'll say minor electrical or plumbing updates. If your systems are safe and functioning correctly, there's often little benefits to replacing fixtures simply because they're older. Focus on addressing safety concerns rather than upgrading everything. What should you fix before selling? While many upgrades aren't necessary, some issues should always be addressed, such as roof leaks, water damage, mold problems, structural concerns, safety hazards, broken HVAC system, major plumbing leaks, electrical hazards. Final thoughts. The goal isn't to create a perfect house. It's to present a well-maintained home that appeals to buyers. Before investing in repairs, consult a local real estate professional such as myself who understands your market. In many cases, spending less before listing can actually result in a higher profit net at closing. But one thing I'll say, the best repair is often the one you don't make. But I'll say this much, as a homeowner, target spring cleaning. Always, I try to do that. I got an older house. I try to do one decent sized project in my house every year since I bought it. Either I change the fence, I change the flooring, you know, bathroom, whatever it is. Every year I try to do something. Some years I may not be able to do some major project, but I may just go around and paint something, you know. Just retouch it, keep your house fresh. Or deep clean in the spring, you know, baseboards, everything, or before the holidays if you're getting family over. What that does is it keeps you from having to spend so much when it's time to sell. All right. Finally, before we wrap up, we're just going to touch on the interest rates today. And the reason why I put the interest rate topic at the back end of the podcast, I used to put it before, is sometimes I'm talking about evergreen content, right? Things that would help buyers or sellers 5 years from now But when they hear the interest rates from today, they say, oh, this video is 4 years old, and they skip it. So they don't really hear all the other good content. So I tend to put the evergreen stuff that may last in the front end, and then those who stick around can hear this interest rate section, or we can just cut this into a clip and put it out separately. The national average interest rate for 30-year fixed rate mortgage is currently 6.52% as of today, June 3rd, 2026. For a 15-year fixed mortgage, the average rate sits at 5.82. So average meaning average, right? High, low, medium, right where we are in the middle. Some people are getting a little better, some people are getting a little worse deals based on credit scores, right? Rates highly, let's see, break down 30-year. 30-year fixed 6.52 with an APR of approximately 6.70. 15-year fixed 5.82% with an APR of about 6.03%. 30-year FHA is about 6.46. Imagine during the pandemic, I got a loan for 2.98 or 2.89. Now it's 6.4 something. So timing is everything in the market. But there are people who bought at 8 and 10%, and they see this as still a good deal. So there's no telling that we can ever see those 2% rates when 7 was the norm. 30-year VA 6.52. These rates apply to borrowers with excellent credit and typically include 0.35 in discount points. Your exact rate will vary depending on your credit score, location and loan type, and the down payment amount, right? Rates have slightly retreated from their recent weekly peaks, though they continue to hover north of 650. So you can check with your local lender for a more accurate loan rate. Thanks for watching the podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That is how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell your house in Maryland or DC, my contact information is in the description below. Thank you.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you. Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
Hello?
What?
Munster Police Department.
How can I help you?
You come on out, we need to talk to you.
How can I help you, sir?
You come on here, we need to talk to you, alright?
Yes, sir. I just got in and I just left the station. You guys came to my house a couple of nights ago and I had to go through a...
Put your clothes on. Put your
Okay,
clothes
but
on.
I'm saying
Put your
you
clothes
guys
on.
keep walking in my house.
Put your clothes on. Alright, put your clothes on. Put your clothes on.
Okay, so...
Put your clothes on. No,
Okay.
stop talking, put your clothes on.
Okay, can you step outside?
No,
Okay,
put your
one
clothes
second.
on. Put your clothes on right there. Put your clothes on.
Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond. I'm a local real estate agent in the state of Maryland and Washington, DC. We are going to react to a quick video. Without further ado, let's jump right in. This is a video of a squatter and it's going viral.
Hello.
Hi.
Once another officer gets here, we're going to go in there
Okay.
and we'll get her out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we just walked in, heard the shower going, and the door is closed. So I didn't physically see her.
Okay.
But you could hear there's somebody in there.
Are the doors open still?
Yeah, I left it up.
This is a lady speaking to a cop right now. Apparently they walked into the house and they hear the shower going. I just posted a video of a lady who laid down on her bed, went out drinking with her mom, came home the following morning because she spent the night at her mom's house, came home the following morning, lay down on her bed and started hearing noises under her bed, and it turned out to be a human being. She saw legs sticking out of underneath the bed. This right here, from my understanding, is somebody that may have just purchased a home and they're in the midst of like transferring, and this as you know, I'm a real estate agent, is some of the nightmares home buyers, sellers, and even agents have when you're dealing with that transfer period when the house is vacant. There are people like this that go around looking for these houses, looking for signs in front of the yard just to break in or to see if there's nobody there. And also, one thing I keep seeing are teenagers who would go on Zillow or these websites, look for houses that are for sale. And if they live in that area, or they may not even have to live in that area, they can just drive down there and throw a house party. They post it out on whatever social media networks they use, and they bring a DJ, just trash the house and party there and leave. But let's keep going.
Okay. You give us permission to go inside?
Yeah.
You want her charged and everything like that? Fantastic. You guys just want to hang out here? Well, I'm sure we're going to talk to you after this, okay? So, front door is open. They walked in, they heard the shower going and the door's closed. She has no. She said going in. She's trespassing. Yeah, she said we could go in.
Hello? Hello?
Wait,
Munster Police Department.
how can I help you?
You come on out, we need to talk to you.
How can I help you, sir?
Come on here, we need to talk to you, right?
Yes, sir, I just got in and I just left the station. You guys came to my house a couple of nights ago, and I had to go through a...
Put your clothes on. Put your
Okay,
clothes
but
on.
I'm saying
Put your
you
clothes
guys
on.
keep walking in my house.
Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on.
Okay, so...
Put your clothes on. No,
Okay.
stop talking. Put your clothes on.
Okay, can you step outside?
No,
Okay,
put your
one
clothes on.
second.
Put your clothes on right there. Put your clothes on.
I'm going to clear the rest because I know she has a son, so make sure he's not here.
Just get your clothes on and step out. Put your clothes on.
You guys keep walking into my home.
Put your clothes on and step out.
I definitely will, sir, but it's against the rules.
You're right, it is.
Huh?
You're right, it is.
It is, it really is. And this is my house, sir, and I shouldn't be having to prove that. And you guys all know me, all these you guys are confused just like everybody else. I just left her station. Just now.
Did you figure that out?
And I have been here faithfully since the month of August.
How does she keep getting back in?
Wow, well, first of all, she has no clothes on. The cop tried to get her to put her clothes on, but she's screaming too much, and they say she keeps getting back in. So this seems like a repeat offender. And the owner did tell the cop, I want her charged. So there will be some lawsuits to go with this, or jail time possibly. Very nice house, by the way. And this is what I talk about. I saw one of these right here in Maryland where the lady used a U-Haul and moved into the house with her furniture, similar to this. Like moved in and is living there. And the neighbors had to call the cops on them. That made the news because it was one of those big houses in the Potomac area. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Get your clothes on.
Did she get evicted or?
She's never lived here. Never lived here? She has no associations with this house.
I mean, yes, I'm not doing anything illegal. I just left. Here, hold on, I need to turn around. Sir, I just left your department to pick up my keys. I just came from there. I just moved in as of August. You guys are the ones that hold me in. I'm trying to figure everything out. You guys aren't at the office and you guys are coming through my door. I'm not illegal. You can run me and you can look it up. I gave you all of the information and I had to go back to get my property.
So one thing I'll say, she's just too, hate to say it, too loud and just yelling. The cop is right there next to her. Why is she so loud? And how did she come out of the shower without any clothes on in a room full of male police officers? Some people would try to get some clothes on. I don't know. Yeah, she's just yelling. And here's the thing. You know, I hate to say it, but discernment in people's demeanor, right? What I'll say is, I keep saying this, I've been in management before, and when people get a job and they give you this good game, always too eager, always got something to say, I don't judge them, but I'm a show me, don't tell me type of guy. I take it with a grain of salt. She is, what this is doing right here is just deflecting. It's like you call somebody in the office to hold them accountable on job performance, and they're blaming everybody else in the room. And a trick we always do, or at least I was trained to do, is write down what the issue was and always come back to the issue. They're going to blame another manager, they're going to blame another associate, they're going to blame the work conditions. Just say, okay, we'll address that at a later date, but here, this is what we're talking about. She's just yelling and deflecting, and if the cops are not going, trained, they can just follow her down a rabbit hole and forgot what the issue is, which is you're living in somebody's house. Where's your documentation?
Okay, that's it. You guys are walking into my residence like I don't live here.
I'm right here.
I'm just saying, I'm just now coming home. You guys just did this, and you guys are the ones that is the ones that helped me to get in here. So you know I'm not illegal.
Yeah, this is an application for employment.
Well, I just left your village is what I'm trying to tell you. I have my information, and you guys got some as well. Okay. And it should be.
You see, she's just over talking and yelling and deflecting, threw paper in their face and give a story. So you're now focused on the story and not the document. But the cop is being very calm and keeping his eye on the document and saying this is an application to whatever. It has nothing to do with this house. And she's yelling, and the guy's right here in front of her. Like, what's the purpose of that? I don't get it. But that's what they'll do. And they, good thing the lady came in there. That's what I mentioned in the other squatter video I uploaded. If you haven't seen it, please go do so. Is have a camera there. Make sure you are there. So as soon as they move in, you're there, or you can see it. So now when you call the cops, it's a break-in and entering thing. It's not a kicking somebody out that lived here, because we did another squatter video where the guy had lived there for a while and the cops told him, well, we can't kick him out. You guys can both coexist. In his grandfather's cabin, they have to coexist because he's already established a residency in your house. Now you got to go through the court system to get him out. But if you see him on your camera, they go in, you call the cops, you get him out, or you get the cops there immediately. Now it's a trespassing thing. So with squatters, I always say catching them on site red-handed or as soon as possible is the best way out before they settle in. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Your computer system, sir, this is not illegal. Only thing is, I have to get to I'm going to the B&B in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm going in the morning because you guys have something, a glitch in the system somewhere. I'm getting up B&B early in the morning so I can get all the documents, so I can get everything transferred over. Until then, I can't do anything until you guys are open. You guys are closed and you guys are kicking in the door.
We didn't kick in nothing.
Well, I mean, you're standing in the door.
Do you have a house key or something?
Yeah, and yes, and it's in your property. Could you take me? I can definitely give it to you, and I will open my door.
Do you have stop shouting.
I'm sorry.
Right
I understand, officer.
Room is echoing?
Yes, I have keys to the front door. I have keys to my back. I have keys to the entire place.
Do you have a copy of the lease agreement?
Well, I purchased this home. I purchased this home from somebody a couple of years ago, and I just moved in August. So she doesn't live.
Who is the somebody?
She's from the Sotheby's Realty. She doesn't even live in Illinois. I don't even.
She purchased the home a couple of years ago, but she just moved in August. Sometimes, all you got to do is listen to people. They'll tell on themselves. She purchased the house a couple of years ago, but she just moved in August. The doors are open. Do you have keys to the property? She'll go get the keys. Take me there. Do you catch my drift? Like, there's a lot going on here that's just, it doesn't sound right. And I'm glad the cops, one, told her to put her clothes on. Why would she even come out of the bathroom naked? I don't know what that's about. Secondly, she's just yelling and yelling, and the cop is right there. And sometimes this is a perfect video how to de-escalate. You know, sometimes when people are going off, you just stay calm, you just get them on the other side.
This is an application for employment. Well, I just left your village is what I'm trying to tell you. I have my information and you guys got some as well. Okay. And it should be in your computer system, so this is not illegal. Right. Only thing is I have to get to the,
So, just a quick recap. They busted in the door. If you didn't see the previous video, well, they didn't bust in the door. The door was open. The owner called them. The house is open. Apparently, the owner came in and they just heard somebody in the shower and called the cops. And if you hear the cops, she's been in this property quite a few times and she keeps getting in. And the other cop was asking, how does she keep getting in? And one of the cops said she has a son, so he went around to look for that person. Then another cop was asking, hey, what's going on with this lady? Was she evicted or something? And then the other cop said she has no affiliation with the house whatsoever. When she came out, she brought this piece of paper and just stuck it in the cop's hand and is talking over the cop, just loud talking, in essence just trying to distract him from reading the paper she gave. The paper, it's almost like training day. Remember Denzel Washington, training day, when he folded up the piece of paper, gave it to the lady, hey, I got a warrant, and he busted in the house, and she just sat there when everything got stolen, the cash got stolen. Then she looked at the paper and said, oh, this ain't no warrant. That's just how it goes. They distract you and you're not focused on the document they put in your hand. Now you think something is legit and they got another play going on that they're running, right? So sometimes you just got to slow down and just listen. And the cop did a good job there, just listening. And ma'am, this is a job application and an application for unemployment or whatever it was. A pamphlet that she stuck in his hand talking about the house. That paper had nothing to do with anything. And the way she's confrontational and screaming is all about deflecting you from what the problem is. I hate to say it, but this is next level criminality. You're so used to being a criminal or just lying that it's just natural, you know? It's just like your mother tongue, you know. I hate to be, I'm not going to say I hate to be, but I don't want to be preaching on here. But Jesus said something like this when he said, when you lie, you speak your native tongue. You're of your father, the devil, who was a liar from the beginning. I think it may be somewhere in John 6. When you lie, you speak your father's native tongue. And this is just like a native tongue. It's just natural. She's just spewing out lies after lies. It's just crazy. Let's keep going.
B&B in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm going in the morning because you guys have something, you know, a glitch in the system somewhere. I'm getting up B&B early in the morning so I can get all the documents, so I can get everything transferred over. Until then, I can't do anything until you guys are open. You guys are closed and you guys are kicking in the door.
We didn't kick in nothing.
Well, I mean, you're standing in the door.
Do you have a house key or something?
Yeah, and yes, and it's in your property. Could you take me? I can definitely give it to you, and I will open my door.
Do you have stop shouting?
I'm sorry. I understand, officer.
Room, is that quick?
Yes, I have keys to the front door. I have keys to my back. I have keys to the entire place.
Do you have a copy of the lease agreement?
Well, this is I purchased this home. I purchased this home from somebody a couple of years ago, and I just moved in August. So she doesn't live.
Who is the somebody?
She's from the Sotheby's Realty. She doesn't even live in Illinois. I don't even know where she is. She just called me with congratulations. I got my key. I got in and I've been here. But if you want to, you can take me to the station.
So this is a real estate channel. She's from whatever realty she said. The person doesn't even live in the state. She got her keys. She got in. You're in the house. How did you get in the house just now? The cop has to take you somewhere to go grab your keys. How did you enter into a house just now? You mean they sold the house and it was vacant, or you left the house open or something? Anyway, it's just, once again, lies after lies, deflections, and it's crazy. And I would have to say this is a good lesson of de-escalation. I just watched a video where the cop literally shattered the window of the guy in the car, and he turned out to be, some people are saying, I don't know how true it is, some people are saying he's either law enforcement himself, either an undercover cop, an FBI agent, or whatever. And he was being calm, and the cop just shattered his window with his hand, literally pulled it, cut himself. It's all on body camera, just escalating it. And then the victim in the car is the one who was just calm the entire time. This is a complete opposite of that. This cop right here is the one that's calm and is de-escalating. While this lady, if you met a cop that was rowdy or matched her energy, this could have went left. She could possibly get a lawsuit, even though she's a squatter, you know. But this cop just de-escalated it. Like, I'm 2 feet away from you. Why are you yelling?
To my property, I promise you I will come back. I will open my, yes sir, I will open my front door, my back door, everything for you with the key.
You purchased this house?
Yes, I did, sir.
But you don't know from what realtor?
It's Sotheby's. So Sotheby's is the realtor, but I do have my keys. So if you can get my property, like I will give you all of my information, and you can get it.
Any information showing that you purchased?
Everything that I have went to the station. Only thing I have to go to, they told me I have to go to the B&B in Griffith, and once I get there, they can switch everything over for me, and that's gonna take like 10 or 14 days. Only.
What a switching everything at the DMV. Here in Maryland, we got an MVA, but DC has a DMV. So MVA here stands for Motor Vehicle Association, but everywhere else has a DMV. Don't know why Maryland chose MVA, but she's speaking about the DMV. What does switching your driver's license has to do with title? How do you even get keys to, like, it has nothing to do with anything. Driver's license at the DMV being closed. This is a house purchase. We're not talking about a car or getting an ID. I don't know how they're related. What do you have to switch at the DMV that pertains to your house purchase? You know, if you don't have the IDs, you can't get title. At least legally in Maryland, the title company needs to scan these ID and because they need to transfer those records with the county. So that should have been needed prior to closing. Okay, you close now, you got the keys. What does one have to do with the other? I'm not getting the where it translates at all. She's just trying to overtalk. Not so the Beat Realty is the real estate agent. Does she mean that's the company? Is that a scam that she got caught up in? So I'll just go off on a little tangent here for a second. There are these people. I'm a real estate agent. I get the calls all the time from people who are trying to get me to list the property, but the owner is in there. They're telling me this house just foreclosed. Go list this house. You know, and I see some of them online on the MLS at times. Owner occupied, don't bother agent, don't bother owner. I get it if the bank is trying to foreclose, but as an agent, I'm not going to tie my name to that. I haven't been in the house. I don't have any proof you have ownership of the house, and I just put it on the MLS. But I get these companies all the time trying to get me to list a property that they have no ownership of. Is that what she's talking about? And I'm like, how can I put this on the MLS and I haven't gone to take pictures of it? Oh, it's about to be foreclosed. Okay, find somebody else to deal with that. You know, that's not something I want to engage in. But I would say some of them are scams. Some of them I get. They are going through a foreclosure process, and the bank just wants to sell it to an owner and cut cost of kicking this person out. And then the new owner has to go through the court process of evicting. It's a way for the bank to kind of get their money, and you deal with the problems, but you don't know what that house looks like on the inside. When somebody knows they're getting ready to foreclose, they just tear things up. Anyway, let me get back to this one.
No, everything that I purchased, no, they don't give you anything. When you purchase something and you sign a lease agreement and it's over with, I'm not paying a monthly note, so I don't have anybody to consort with. So I don't have a consorter, but what I do have.
They never gave you.
Well, I mean, I got keys and I got my transfer information to get over with the B&B, like, you know, transfer plates and titles and stuff like that to get my house together. I got furniture coming, that's about it. I don't have anything else that can prove that, but I do have the keys. So if you want to go to the station and bring me back, I would definitely open up my house with the house keys.
When did they get your stuff?
Because ago, they got my things and bring it to me, and they say, you don't have anything, everything registers, you don't have to worry about coming here, and if anything happens, let us know. That's the only thing that they told me, so I don't have anything against me.
She's clapping, she's talking. If these cops are homeowners, she's lying. As a real estate agent, nothing she's saying, this just tells me she's never bought a house before. Nothing she's saying right there has anything to do with a home buying process. You don't get keys without paper, everything transfers. That's not how it works. When you're closing, the stack of papers is almost about this thick, maybe 100-something pages. That's why I tell my clients sometime, if you need that email to you earlier so you can read through it, because I had one client who was trying to read through that at the closing table. She's my client, but I was frustrated. That's not the time to read through that. It's just so many pages. You're not going to get all the details. If you need those closing documents sent to you earlier so you can review them, please do. You know, the closing agent, most likely from the title company, would walk you down. Okay, this is for the water. This is for your loan. This is for this. They go page by page explaining it to you, and you just sign. But you don't really get time to look through everything. Okay, this is for transfer taxes. You'll pay half. The seller, this is prorated. Okay, the water, the seller has paid this much, so you got to reimburse. They will walk you through page by page, explaining to you what every page is, summarizing it, and you just initial. But you can always tell them, stop, let me review that. But it's best to do that prior to closing. What she's saying now has nothing to do with the closing process. If these cops have ever bought a house, they don't need to be a real estate agent. They would know the processes she's talking about is not related to the real estate industry at all. At all. You just go there. Whatever she's saying has nothing to do with the way a house is sold. And there are different state laws, but when you take your real estate exam, you got to take it nationally. You got to take so national standards are there. You know, I'm in Maryland.